Head start. We're going to do 3 courses. We're going to do 3 courses because I'm very loud. We're going to do 3 course dinner party. Are you stopping? You don't know? What's the decision, bro? What's going to seal the deal? I am. We're running a little bit late, so I'm just starting now. I'll give you your money back if you don't like it. Lost out to the toy shop, have I? Yeah. 5?
So what contributes to the longevity of a loaf like that?
I think it's the soaking process. Yeah, like a real true sort of pumpernickel rye bread.
Yeah.
It's very dense. And it will keep for a long, long time.
Yeah, they said it kept for 3 months.
So what's, yeah.
Kept for 3 months, yeah.
Very civilised, isn't it?
It's alright, isn't it?
With a drop of mulled wine, delicious.
Yeah.
The more of that you have, the better I get. I'm just getting a head start because we're a little bit late starting, but that's okay. So I'm going to do a 3-course dinner in about 40 minutes. Fingers crossed. Should be fine. What could possibly go wrong? Eh? So for dessert, what we're doing is Portuguese tarts, but we're going to do them. We're going to flavour them with Christmas pudding because I hate Christmas pudding, and I'm always trying to find something to do with Christmas pudding beyond just serving it. It's not my thing. So all we're doing is we're taking 3 pieces of phyllo pastry, and we're buttered each side so that they get hot in between each layer, and then they crisp up, and then we're going to fill it with some Christmas pudding. Okay. So I'm just going to do a couple here, and we'll get them in the oven first, and then we'll get on with the starter and main course. They don't take long to do at all. So we all had a good day? Yeah?
Yeah,
Good. Good. So, we're using this very much as a seasoning, just to flavour it. So although I haven't cooked it, it's cooked anyway. So, if you have got a Christmas pudding and everyone says to me what you're going to do with the leftovers, everybody asks me that. It's the top question of all journalists this time of year.
Could you use it if you've already heated it up?
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. All we're doing is just, it's our flavouring, it's our seasoning really. And if, you know, you could use minced pie filling if you wanted. You know, you could use a nice sort of compote, you know, if you get a jar of something that you don't really know what to do with. Preserved fruits, or, you know, you get those fruits that are preserved in booze this time of year, don't you? Okay, so, what we're going to do is just make a very simple egg custard. I've got 2 eggs here. Somebody's wrapped them up well for me, haven't they? If I'd have done that, I'd have just thrown them in.
Maybe broken.
Yeah, well, maybe. Good old Kate, eh? Keeps me right. Okay, so, a couple of eggs straight in there. And then a little bit of sugar. And do it to taste, very much to taste. I always work on 1 egg per person. And usually we work on a ratio of about 6 eggs to a pint of liquid. Now whether you go half milk, half cream, all cream if you want, it's up to you. A little bit of sugar in there, and whisk that up. And then I've got some sour cream so it's not too sweet, there's a bit of a counterbalance. I always like to try and always get that sort of balance in life is supposed to be quite what we all achieve, isn't it? So. And to be honest, if you get your egg ratio wrong, it doesn't matter because everything's encased in that crisp pastry.
How many layers?
3. And just all I've done is melt the butter, and I've just rather than brushing them all, just dip them in. It's all about just trying to get some fat in between the layers so they crisp right up.
And you've got silicone.
I've got silicone, yeah. Now you have to be careful with silicone because it's not like metal, so it doesn't always crisp right up. So we'll probably have to take them out and finish them in the oven a little bit. Silicone's not great for baking.
But it would go equally well with metal tray.
Yeah, absolutely. As long as you get that little bit of fat on the pastry, because there's not a lot of fat in phyllo. A little bit of lemon juice in there. Try and get the balance. There we go. And then we're just going to spoon that straight over the Christmas pudding. And we'll leave it for like 30 seconds to find all the holes and sort of settle. Because otherwise you find that you come back to it, it's like a quiche, innit? You fill it and then you come back to it and the level's dropped again. There we go. And then a little sprinkling of sugar on the top. Brown is probably better to do this for. So you get a little sort of that, you know, like that custard tart type topping. And if you like nutmeg, get a bit of nutmeg on there. So we'll get them straight into the oven. That's at 200 degrees. I'm just going to knock it down to 180 because these Neff ovens are very, very efficient. It's that blooming Germans. They're good at everything like that. Right, let's have a quick wipe down. That's a fan oven, so 180. If you're in an electric oven, knock it down, yeah, a little bit. I work with Neff ovens at the cookery school all the time, so I kind of get used to it. And I've got one at home as well now, so I'm all Neffed up. Okay, so let's have a quick wipe down, we'll get timed up. Not many blokes wash up and clean up at the same time, is it?
No. No,
See, there are some of us. Sorry, fellas.
don't do any of it.
I don't do it at home. I don't do it at work. Right. So we're going to cook. We're going to cook 3 courses. So we're going to. I bought everything from town today. So everything that you see today, you can get in and around Cockermouth, which I thought was quite important for a food festival. So I've been to the fishmongers. I've got some samphire, and I've got some lovely naturally smoked haddock. Okay? And I thought it'd be quite nice to do a very simple 3-course dinner party. So we're going to do what they call un paupiette, which is where you cook it inside a parcel. And what that does is it means you keep all the flavour in, and you lose nothing. It's a very forgiving way of cooking. So if you're chatting to people, you're having a dinner party, whatever, if you overcook it by 5 minutes, it'd be okay. Whereas if you're doing it in a pan, there's no margin for error. You've got to get it right. So, what we're going to do is we're going to skin the fish first. So, really, really important. You go in, you hold the tail, and then you go in at about 45 degrees. And as soon as you've gone in, the objective is then to get the fish to get the knife as flat as possible. So you're running parallel to the skin. You've got to keep this bit tight, okay? So once you're in, all I'm doing is now just moving the knife back and forth, and I'm pulling the skin, okay? But if you went in and bought this in Cockermouth Fishmonger, they'll do it for you in a heartbeat. But if you want to learn how to do it, you either come and spend the day with us, or you get on YouTube.
Is that a special knife for the job?
No, I use this knife for pretty much everything, if I'm honest. It's we use Robert Welsh knives, which in the cookery school, and I also use them at home, and I also use them in the professional kitchen. They've stood me really, really well, and I believe they keep their edge really, really well. So you're not sharpening them all the time. And it's quite accessible for you to get these. You can get them in Fagans, you can get them at Lake London, have them delivered to your door. So they're quite accessible knives to get hold of. They're made in Britain, they're made in Gloucester. Robert Welsh, I think they're famous for cutlery, aren't they, more than utensils and knives. So, with the haddock, you've got a series of bones. Now, if you want to find the bones, you run your hand along the fish, but you always go head to tail, not tail to head, because the bones go in at 45-degree angle. So if you do that, you won't feel them. But if you do that, you should be able to hear. You hear that? You wouldn't hear it that way. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut down there, and I'm going to cut round them. Because I just want to cut a nice, what we call a loin, so a nice filleted piece. Now this piece here that we're going to save, this, perfect for fish cakes. Or if you want to make a lovely smoked haddock chowder, you know, have a nice potato, smoked haddock, sweet corn soup, something like that, perfect for that. So I've taken all the bones out in one go. You could sit and you could pull them out, but you've got to pull them from tail to head, that way. So you've got to imagine how they're in. You've got to take, otherwise you rip all the flesh. Okay? So we'll keep these trimmings. Okay, so we'll do 2 portions. Keep that for tomorrow. Okay, so you've got really nice simple portions. It's always worth just having a feel around, because it's these things that put people off fish. That's the one thing that people are worried about, is them bones. But if you just take a bit of time, run it through your fingers, these are the most useful tool in the kitchen by far. Okay? I'll just have a little feel around. Perfect. Alright, I've got rid of all them. So, got some foil here. Now when you're cooking au paupiette, basically French for parcel. Sounds nicer, doesn't it, French? French and the Italians always have nicer words for everything. You know, pancetta or streaky bacon. Okay. So, I've used a little bit of this butter here. I'm just going to pop that at the bottom. So everything you put in this parcel, you're going to get out in flavour. So it's really important to make sure you put lots of flavours in. Now, smoked haddock is quite rich, so you need a sense of counterbalance. Otherwise it will just be very smoky, very rich, very oily. Okay? So we've got butter. And that butter will melt into the fish while it cooks and steams. So that's going to go on there. Look, there's the cheap seats. Little bit of pepper, no salt, because sometimes haddock can be salty. You know, if depending on how they've prepared it. Okay? And then I'm going to take a couple of slices of lemon, sit those on there, so that all the steam that comes up through the fish warms up this lemon, so when we take it out of the oven, we can squeeze all that over it, and we've got our own sauce then. We don't need to mess about with sauces and all that sort of stuff. So we've got a little bit of fennel top. Put that on there as well.
So what is that?
This is fennel.
Fennel.
Yeah?
Yeah, right.
For me, it's my favourite herb. I absolutely love fennel. Use it all the time. So I've got the most amazing advent calendar at home. It is 24 mini bottles of wine.
Oh, did you get that? I saw that.
Sendagift.com. Next year, you know what to ask for. 24 different little bottles of wine. I love it. And then a little bit of water. Sorry, not water, wine. And that's going to create steam. Wine or water, hey, take up time, whatever it is to you. Okay, and then we've got some samphire. Now, samphire, it's not really in season at the moment here, but people have started to get a lot more of it. It's actually, if you go to Silloth, go right to the end of Silloth and that estuary that runs all the way to there, you can pick it in August. Pick it all yourself. It's lovely. I'm just going to sit it on top because I don't want it to have real intense direct heat, because to be honest, you can eat it raw. Please have a little taste if you want. It's salty. It tastes of the sea. Lovely seasoning. That's why if you taste that, you'll see why we haven't salted that. It's like salty asparagus, if you like, but it's quite tender. Okay, so that's all we're going to do. Now, I need to take a photo of it because I keep getting told off for not taking photos of anything. Okay, so bear with me, sorry. I get told off all the time. But it's the last thing I think of when I'm cooking. Sorry.
I was going to say it's the only way I ever cook fish.
Is it? Well, you should be up here then, shouldn't you? Oh.
And I get it from fried fish.
Do you?
Brilliant.
Okay, so tuck the ends underneath. Now, if you were going to do this, say if you have a dinner party tomorrow night, do it now. Get it all done. Sit in the fridge, no problem, overnight. No problem at all. Right. Just going to drop that down, put that at the bottom of the oven. Okay.
May I ask?
You may.
I've done some things like that before. I've done it on caviar, you know,
Yeah.
in the paper. Is it very much the same?
Exactly the same, all you're doing. And you know when you see chefs putting everything in vat bags now? Same thing.
Yeah.
All you're doing is trapping everything inside.
Yes.
And in the next
perfectly.
10 years, you're going to see water baths in this showroom as well, because the more of them, you're now starting to get ovens with built-in water baths now. I think
Right.
AEG are now doing them,
Right.
built-in water baths. Water baths is definitely the way. On mainland Europe, I can still say that because we're still Europe, they do a lot of, particularly in Scandinavia, they do a lot of vat pack cooking.
Right.
So they'll take a fillet of this or a cut of that, put it into a bag, put a load of herbs, knob of butter, anything you like, backpack it, put it in the fridge till they want it, and then straight into the water bath. Every ounce of flavour is kept, and moisture is kept inside. We're going back to boiling the bag, I'm afraid. The 1980s are coming back.
Good God, yeah, Back to the Future.
Yeah.
The DeLorean.
Yeah, we'll all be wearing, flying on skateboards out there soon. Yeah. Okay, so that's part of the starter done. So what we're going to do is, because that's all quite sort of nice and rich and full of flavour, what we're going to do is we're just going to make a very light salad to go with it. Okay? So I've got my fennel bull. Okay, so we take the outer skin off, keep them, use them instead of onions. If you're making a tomato soup, tomato ragu sauce, anything like that, use them instead of onion. Tomato and fennel are absolutely beautiful. If you're making roast pork tomorrow for your Sunday lunch, chop all that up and butter it and cook it down and add it to your apples and put it all around your pork. Pork and apple, fennel, absolutely made for each other. Really, really good uses. So you're not wasting it. So, down the middle with the fennel, chop the tops off, we'll hang on to those because we've got herbs there as well as vegetable. And then we'll just take that little core out the middle. We don't want that'll.
You better not my kitchen.
Eh? Better believe it. I'm road testing it. Making sure that it can stand up to its... Yeah. So, cut that little bit out because we don't need that. And then as fine as you can manage, the finer you can chop it, the nicer it'll be with that sort of mouthfeel. So if you can't if you can't chop like this, use a peeler. Or if you've got a mandolin, good luck with your fingers because the things just get everywhere. Doesn't matter how good you are, every chef has been sliced open with one of those. But we run various different courses at the cookery school, anything from beginners right up to MasterChef days, where you start to really learn how to do all, if you like to learn all the sort of chefy skills, the MasterChef days perfect. If you want, just to sort of say, we get a lot of guys who've just retired and then have got time on their hands and want to learn how to cook. We get all kinds of people. We've had people who want to enter Bake Off come to the cookery school. We've had people who want to enter MasterChef. Or you name it. Right. So, that fennel is as fine as I can possibly manage today. And then I'm just going to put a bit of acid on there. So a little bit of lemon juice. And that'll just kind of start, it's a super light pickle. Not a heavy pickle at all. Just a super light one. Just to kind of take a tiny bit of the rawness away. Not a lot. And then we've got our fennel tops. So, you get 2 for 1 with this. You get a bit of fennel, top, herb, and then you get vegetable as well. But don't all be going to Sainsbury's and buying them, because I'm the only one that buys them in Sainsbury's, I think. Yeah, not a rush. I'm not going to get any. I feel like I'm the only person who ever buys them. Okay. So, I've got a little bit of butter in here. All I'm going to do is add a little bit of water, or wine, some of us call it. Saying nothing. A little bit of salt. A little bit of pepper. And we're just gonna now. I bought these in the fruit and veg store today in Cumbria. Not everyone can say they've got a fruit and veg shop. And these are a cross between a Brussels sprout and a kale. Okay?
I've heard of these.
Yeah.
What they call
Can't remember what they're called.
Sprails.
Yeah, there you go. So all I'm doing is Cockamus at the cutting edge of Brussels sprouts and kale. There you go. So all I'm doing is I'm just nicking the end off. I don't really want to heavily cook these, but she gave them to me in the fruit and veg store and said, "Can you do anything with them?" So I have no idea. We'll find out. So there you go. So all we're going to do is we're not frying them because we put some wine in there. So we're kind of almost braising them a little bit. And we're just taking the rawness away. So we're making a nice sort of warm salad. Something very simple, I think, that will work well for a dinner party. If I had dinner parties, this is what I'd do. But I don't. I never get invited to anyone's for dinner, ever. Ever. Not even Jim's invited me for dinner yet. Yeah, I know, it's terrible, isn't it? And on the rare occasion that we do get invited, where do I end up? In a kitchen. Oh, can you just do this, Pete? I don't know how to do it. Oh, hang on. So, I've got a little bit of mustard cress as well. I'm going to mix that. This is a very simple salad, and what hopefully you'll see and realise is there's not a single rocket leaf or bag of mixed salad there. That to me is not a salad. Alright? Okay. So, all I've done is taken the rawness away from those a little bit. Okay? A little bit longer maybe. And then we'll get on to the main course. Right. Let's have a look. They're cooking. That's up there. Ow.
They're called Kalettes.
Kalettes. Kalettes.
Google Kalettes.
There you go. God bless Google. We have a saying in our house, it's either Google or Grandad knows everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
So it is.
One or the other. And unfortunately Google seems to be winning at the moment in our house. So the minute you add any wine, it stops the frying process. But what's happening is the wine is evaporating, so we're going back to butter again. But what we've got in there is flavour. So that's going to create our own little salad dressing. So that is going to go in there, not the other way around. So everything gets a nice coating. Okay? But that can just sit for a few minutes. Oh, I tell you what, these things beep a lot. Right, we'll have a look at the main course. Okay, let's get a pan on hot. Really important that we preheat your pans. Okay, before you cook, heat your pan up. Nothing's going to happen to it unless you put something in it. Which sounds daft, but what we tend to do is we season and we oil the ingredient, not the pan. Because if you add the oil into there, that's when it can blow up, and that lady will frown at me if I set fire to a kitchen. Okay, so I went into and I've bought, this is some wild deer from Barry Shaw, who's got a market. He's very, very good at making a very sort of local products and ingredients accessible to all of us. Because it's not that easy to buy. There'll be no venison steak in Sainsbury's. You probably get it in the butchers, but he's very good at getting some more, some very local meats, very accessible. So I always have a good old wander around and see what he's doing. And what he's got here is some lovely roe deer, and then I've also got some of his own black pudding, but it's made with rabbit instead, which I thought was quite interesting. So I'll have a little look at that. So we're going to have Thumper and Bambi, all right, in one dish. Sorry. So I'm going to take that. So venison, incredibly lean because it's wild, okay, and it's running around the fells. This one. So what I've got is some barbecue salt. So and I'll pass it around. This is actually salt mixed with charcoal, so that you get a really lovely barbecue sort of char grilled flavour in a pan. Okay. Online, this one.
Not saying not selling something in that. It comes out.
Oh, there you go. Well, yeah, even better if they're selling it in the market. So I'm just going to nick any sinew. You need to. There's a big difference between sinew and fat. Fat will render. Sinew will just go really stringy. All right, and it's usually slightly blue. The sort of, and it looks a little. It's like a skin, but it's blue. And you want to trim that away. Okay, so I've got some fresh thyme. We'll chop that up and we'll season it. And then we'll roll it all in the seasoning. Okay? This won't take long to cook because it's very, very lean and it is the fillet. Well, kind of the fillet. Okay, so pan's hot. And what we're going to use the black pudding to actually season and thicken the sauce rather than chunks of black pudding. Okay, so I'm going to put some butter straight in, because I forgot my oil. I'll have it tomorrow. And then straight in there. Okay. I'll pass that around if anyone wants to have a taste. It tastes stronger than it smells. So be sparing with black pudding when this, because it's quite strong. It's quite earthy. Now when you're pan frying things, don't fiddle with the meat that's in there. Leave it. It'll release off the pan when it's ready. There's no good sort of going straight in and like fiddling around. You'll start to tear the meat. It'll come off when it's ready. See there, now I can see it's ready to come off. Turn over and you can see we've got that really nice caramelisation on there. And then in with the black pudding. And then I've got some cranberries. Because let's face it, beyond cranberry sauce, you know, we're all going to have a load left. We're all pre-programmed to buy it. So what this is going to do is add a little bit of acidity and a bit of sharpness. Fruit and venison work really well. If you go too heavy and bold and just bung red wine and beef stock in there, it's going to be very, very strong. And you need that little bit of counterbalance. All good chefs cook with technique and then balance. So every dish needs that sense of balance. Now whether they're going for big, bold and gutsy, but then they need balance with size and portion. But then with flavour, if you've got big flavours, so venison has got a slight gaminess to it. Black pudding is rich and earthy and minerally. So what we want is those nice sour cranberries. And then what we might find is it's too sour. So I stole the honey out of the cupboard down there where they make the tea. So we'll finish it with a bit of tea, a bit of honey, if we need to.
Wine, water, honey, tea, whatever.
One of them things. One of them things. So, what I'm doing is I'm just checking how the meat is cooked. And the way that I check and the way I was taught is that I put my finger and my thumb together without any pressure, and that part of the thumb there is what rare meat feels like. And then when I move to the second finger, that's what medium feels like. And then third finger, it's well done. Chuck it out, start again. It's gone. It's gone. Okay, so in with some red wine, or mummy's juice, my kids call it. Okay. Now we've stopped the frying process. Now all we're doing is braising very gently. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the venison over there. And I'm going to get the sauce there. I want the black pudding to melt away. And I want it to thicken it. Okay? But I don't want the venison to cook much. So we move the venison over there. So it's not cold, it's not stopped cooking, but it's about control. All the time we're controlling what's going on. Okay? I'm like bonfire man. I don't burn particularly. I can lift things out of the oven. Fortunately, for years, I've been doing it, so I kind of don't really feel the heat. Occasionally I burn myself, but not very often. Okay, 2 more minutes for that. So don't try this at home. Okay, a little bit more wine in there. Okay. So the cranberries are just starting to burst, which is what we want. Venison is just sitting there nicely. And what's happening now is the venison is not frying anymore. It's sat in wine and black pudding and cranberries, and it's just having a big bath in all flavours. So it's only going to taste better. So that's what we're trying to do, is just add lots and lots of flavours to it, but flavours that are kind of best friends with it, not flavours that are going to take over, and not flavours that are going to fight with it. Flavours that are going to sort of really raise its beautiful. I think venison's lovely, mate. Really, really nice. And we don't eat much of it. We should, but we don't. Okay, I'll just have a quick clear up, and then we'll get the final bits for the dessert ready, and then we will be ready to have a taste. Has anyone got any questions?
Sorry, I missed the herb that you put on the venison.
Thyme. Things like thyme, rosemary, sage would be the only herbs I would use with venison. Probably rosemary and thyme in the winter, and then in the summer, maybe just a little bit of thyme. Not lemon thyme though, that kind of, yeah, and to be fair, rosemary and thyme are the only things alive in your garden at the moment. Everything else is gone now. So.
What part of the venison is it?
It's called the strip loin. So it's basically, you know, like a rack of lamb.
Yeah.
It's that cut there. It's that eye down the middle. So you would, if you went to the butcher's, you'd want, you'd either ask for the strip loin or the saddle. So it's like the rib cage.
Is that the best parts of it?
I think so, yeah. If you want to cook things sort of medium rare, that kind of cooking. If you want things slow cooked, you'd go for the haunch, which is kind of like the top of the leg, the hind leg. There's not a lot on the front leg.
And the black pudding is rabbit.
It's made out of rabbit.
Rabbit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
What did you say you were calling that dish? Peter?
Sorry?
Did you have a name for that venison dish there, or just venison?
Bambi and Thumper.
Oh, they're a chilled bacon bread.
They're just enjoying it then.
No, it's just. My restaurant days are over now, so I don't do restaurant cooking anymore. I just do cooking in the cookery school, and then on the TV and in books and stuff like that. I'm not a proper chef anymore. It's too much like hard work. I've done my bit. I don't need to do it anymore.
Just a cook.
Ooh, that's a bit harsh. Just a cook. I've cooked for sort of with quite a lot of high-profile chefs over the years, and I've done a lot of things. And now I want a family, and I want to be there. So I've kind of stopped. I don't do restaurant cooking anymore. I did Michelin star in London, and it's brutal. It is the hardest thing. I went to work for Marco Pierre White for 6 months. It was like the culinary SAS. It is the most brutal thing I have ever done in my life. And I could have only done it when I was 18 and didn't have a wife and any responsibilities, because I worked 6 days a week, 16 hours a day for 6 months, and then I was broken and I went home. Right, so I'm just putting some butter in there, and that's going to bring the whole thing together. So I'm kind of resting the venison there at the same time, because I've got it away from the element. Right, let's have a little look at this fish.
So I wasn't here at the start. What sort of fish is it?
Smoked haddock.
Right.
So we've taken the loin, the very centre piece out of the loin. What I've done is I've bought everything from Cockermouth today, pretty much, and I just wanted to do a very simple three-course dinner. The kind of food that you might sort of want to do on New Year's Eve, or, you know, I've tried to make it. I've bought fruit and veg from the fruit and veg shop, which not many towns have anymore. I've bought from the fishmonger, I've bought from the market, the farmer's market. So we've got venison and rabbit black pudding, we've got smoked haddock, and then we've got, what are these?
Hey,
Kalettes, cross between a Brussels sprout and kale. Let's find out whether it's any good. So I've got my fennel in there. There we go. So this is going to be our salad. And then with the haddock, we've got some samphire that we put on top. We're going to pop that in. And we don't need a dressing because what we've got is loads of lovely flavour. So squeeze the lemon over the top, and because it's just cooked through for about 10 minutes, that's it. Okay? And then we just mix that through. So you've got a little bit of raw, you've got a little bit of cooked. It's kind of the way I like to cook at the moment. I'm very into kind of a bit of raw and a bit of cooked. I quite like it. It's a bit like yin and yang, I think.
Rooked.
Eh?
Rooked.
Rooked.
Rooked, yeah.
What's that?
Rooked.
Raw and cooked.
Yes,
That's yours in marketing, clearly. Clearly. Okay. So we've skinned the haddock, and we're just going to sit that on top there. And it is just cooked. Okay? Just cooked. And then a little bit. This is just flavour and should never be thrown away. All the best sauces are not made in a saucepan. All the best sauces are made in whatever you've cooked the ingredient, in my opinion. I came from a world of having 8 different pans of sauces boiling and reducing for service. It's absolute rubbish. I'll say rubbish because there's a few children in. The best sauce, you can't make that sauce without cooking the fish.
No.
In my opinion. Okay. So my little Portuguese tarts are going to sit there. So there, that's my very simple starter. And I'll put the other one in here so you can have a taste. Got a little bit of mustard cress on there as well because I think it's kind of fallen out of favour a little bit, really. The poor old mustard cress. We've got coriander cress and everything else these days. So. We're all right. What would you like? What do you want to know? What's in it again?
No, I'm saying what's in samphire.
We've got some. So we cook the samphire in with the haddock. Okay, so that gives us its saltiness. And then all I've done is shred fennel really, really fine and squeeze a bit of lemon juice. So it's kind of really lightly pickled. So it's actually, you taste more of the fennel than you do of the vinegar. You know when you get pickled stuff, like beetroot, all I have to taste is vinegar. So it's a very light pickle. I think we seem to think in this country if we're going to pickle something, it's to stick it on a shelf for 12 months. It's not, there are better, smarter ways, I think, of doing it. But have a little taste of that if you want, while it's nice and warm. And then I'm gonna plate up the venison next. Shy you are. Right, let's have a little taste of this sauce. Yeah, one's just on a posh plate and one's not. Yeah, all women say that. Yeah, I like that.
How long did you cook the venison for?
5-6 minutes. It depends how you like it. Yeah, so I pan fried it.
Yeah.
And then I added in the black pudding. and then I added in the cranberries, and then I added in the red wine, and then what I did was I moved the loin out of the way, so it's kind of half on the heat, half not. And what I'll do,
You see, it was rabbit black pudding.
yeah. So Barry Shaw up at Wigton's made it.
Alright.
So, and what I've used the black pudding for is nothing more than just getting that sort of minerally. I wanted it to thicken the red wine. So now, instead of just reduced red wine, we've actually got something with a bit of substance and a bit of flavour. Again, all the best sauces are made in the pan that you cook the product in.
You never took your meat sauces away, do you?
No.
You eat the joints.
But I always like to make everything like this.
That venison looks absolutely delicious.
Good. But this is what we do at the cookery school. You know, we try and teach people how we like to cook. We like to cook quite naturally. We don't like to turn things into other things. We just like to. It's a bit of a cliche, but you just you just curate flavours together. Just things that work, and you just use technique for that. I can't remember what they're called again. Caillettes, yeah, that's the one. Yeah, caillettes. But that's just very simple. That's just a really nice fillet smoked haddock. I haven't done much to that. It's just about doing the right thing and not overcooking it, and making sure that every ounce of moisture is kept in the fish, because it can dry out so quickly, and that's the thing. I'm just messing about here. You should just try this, shouldn't you? I don't know why I'm doing this. None of you lot care.
See, the crunchiness, the fennel comes through, doesn't it?
Yeah, raw.
Lovely.
You know, it's that yin and yang. It's that raw and clean and fresh against rich, smoky, buttery fish.
And what is it that gives us that fish that saltness? Was that
The samphire.
the samphire?
So we've just got a little bit of samphire here. It's a bit. Have you tried it before?
No, I've tried it before, no.
Can you catch?
I used to play rugby and...
Oh no! Try again. Here you go.
Used to be the operative word.
Oh, bloody hell.
Have a taste. It's like very tender, salty asparagus. Right, there you go. So that's the venison. I'll cut that up into little pieces for you. You're alright. It's quite a full-on plate of food, this, in terms of flavour. You're not going to want tons of this. So if you're going to do it for a dinner party, you know, don't do a 12-ounce steak of it, because it's just too strong. It's too much. Do you know what? Some really lovely buttery mashed potato, maybe with a teaspoon of horseradish in for me. I like it like that, but it depends what you like. And what I would do is, what I meant to do was do some baby carrots and add salt bacon. So again, in paupiette, salt, star anise, orange, bang them in there and just bake them. I quite like them, yeah. Good, get them while they're young, that's what I say. Get them while they're young. Right, dessert. Okay. So, what I'm going to do for dessert is we're just going to make, this is all quite sort of, it's a little bit Middle Eastern, which I know is kind of out of nowhere, but it really works for me. And given that we're doing what we've got is a Portuguese tart, but we've got a little bit of Christmas pudding crumbled inside it. So we've got egg, cream, sugar, leftover Christmas pudding in crispy pastry. And then what we're going to do is we're going to roast some pistachios for crunch in a little butter, not a lot. And then while that's toasting, I've got some medjool dates. You've got you the good ones. You just move that out of the way. So it's really, I think it's really important to roast nuts so that they actually get nutty. which sounds weird, but most nuts that come straight out of a packet are a bit bland and not very crunchy. So what we're going to do is we roast them in a little bit of butter and a bit of salt. And a little, like, almost like they're savoury. Because nuts that are salted kind of become nuttier. And it plays with your taste buds a bit. So we're going to take these dates and just push the stone out. I should have used prunes really. I just signed a contract with California Prunes to try and get rid of the image of California prunes that you all are thinking right now. So I've started creating very contemporary recipes with California prunes. I'll get shot for using dates. Never mind. They're in California, they're probably still asleep. Right, that should do. So have a little look. See how we're doing. They're on the wrong hob, that's why they're not cooking. We're alright, Andy. Sorry, Andy, everything ran on. It wasn't my fault, they were late. It wasn't my fault. I thought Andy won't mind, he's still asleep. Poor man's been baking all night long. Bless him. He's had no sleep. Look at the state of him.
Smile. Just making sure you don't pick up any bad habits from me.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Right, nearly there. Right, so we've got our pistachios and salt. And then we're going to have a tiny little bit of honey. And that's going to make them nice, like literally a tiny bit. We don't want a lot. And then in with our dates. So we're kind of trying to make a bit of a salsa, really. And a salsa to me is just a lot of small ingredients that add sort of crunch and texture and acidity and all those, and it kind of cleans everything up for you. I don't think it has to mean, you know, dipping your nachos in it, salsa. For me, a salsa can be anything. It just adds that real sort of freshness. Right, so that's it. So we've got crunchy, we've got almost toffee-like. My daughter's favourite ingredient, pomegranate, of all things for a child to love. That's kind of quite an acquired taste. It's a very strange texture. My daughter loves them. So cut them in half and just smack them is the easiest way. And hold on to them.
Use the blunt end of the knife.
Yeah. And you get most of them out. And then just grab a few. To be fair, pomegranates, it's a gamble. I don't know how to tell which ones are amazing and which ones aren't. Sometimes you get a good one that just bleeds that red juice, and sometimes you don't. Okay. And then I'm going to take some acid again, some lemon juice, catch the pips. So now for me, this would go beautifully stuffed inside a pork chop. Be absolutely lovely. You know, if you stuffed it inside some pheasant, anything like that, it'd work really well. But you can see, it's kind of like a salsa. Yeah? Okay. Right, let's see if we can get these little tarts out. Let Andy do his demo so he can get to bed before fella. You baking tonight?
Yeah.
Right, everyone's got to buy a loaf of bread tomorrow to make this man bake tonight. If we all buy more bread, he's got to stay up even longer. Okay. So, very, very carefully take your Portuguese tart, okay? It's crisped up. Okay, and then for me, this would be really nice, a bit of clotted cream, a bit of ice cream maybe. But all I'm going to do is just sit that on the top. So it's all very kind of... It is, isn't it? You'd think I planned it. That's handy. There we go. See, I planned it about an hour ago. Okay. See if I can get this one out as easy. One went really well. There we go. There we go. Now I must take a picture of this because I will get shouted at.
forget to type taste Cumbria is very good.
I will try my best. You're speaking to the wrong one. Kate does it. Not me. I create. Kate communicates for me. Bless her. We're a team. Okay, so there we go. So hopefully, we might have given you a bit of an idea to do a couple of things a little bit different if you want to. And give you a sense of what we get up to at our cookery school in Keswick. If you fancy it, we've got some flyers dotting around.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what to buy somebody for Christmas, cookery school gift voucher, it's the perfect present. Because everyone has somebody who doesn't know what to buy for. So, thank you very much for watching. Hope you have a good rest of your weekend. Please come and have a little taste if you want to. And if you've got any questions, just give us a shout. Thank you.
Could I just add, ladies and gentlemen, the demos are free and the chefs are all given their time, but we are collecting, if you like, donations for the youth staff. I'll let you know on the end day to you.
Do you want me to cut it?